Good evening. I'd like to call to order the February 2nd, 2016 School Board meeting of Seminole County. Before I turn this meeting over to Member Lockhart for the Pledge of Allegiance, I must first share some more sad news that we lost two more very important family members of our Seminole County family, and I just wanted to take a moment to honor their memory. The first is Miss Arvis Harmon, and her principal, Demetria Hayes, had these words to say about her. Arvis Harmon was a beloved guidance counselor at Crooms Academy of Information Technology. Along with her colleagues, Mrs. Harmon was known for quick wit and humor and her bottom-line approach to life. She dedicated many hours beyond the school day to help our students reach their highest potential, serving as a facilitator for the after-school guided study program, being a listening ear to those who needed someone to confide in, and being a resource and support for our most at-risk, homeless, and highly mobile students. Her presence will be greatly missed from the Crooms family, and we have been blessed for the years that she shared with us. Mrs. Harmon served our district for 16 years. And also, we're sad to report that Miss Alejandro Molina, a second grade teacher at Keith Elementary, also passed. Mr. Gaffney, her principal, had these words to say about Mrs. Alex Molina: was the type of person that any principal would love to have the opportunity to work with. She taught at Keith for 18 years in the second grade. She was a mom and wife first and foremost, and always put her family above all else. The love for her children, Amanda, Christian, Daniel, and her husband Jerry, was ever present in all that she did. She was a believer in her faith and was an angel sent from God to be a teacher. She was a leader around Keith Elementary. Her passion for teaching was second to none. She believed that she could make a difference in all students' lives. She spent the extra time and every opportunity to try to better herself as a teacher. She was a lifelong learner that never stopped trying to get better at her craft. She was loved and will remain in our hearts forever. She will be missed by our entire Keith family, and may I add, Seminole County Public Schools. If you'd all please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you so very much. Ms. Lockhart, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Let the record reflect that all 5 school board members are in attendance, along with legal counsel and our superintendent. I would like to acknowledge at this point in time the following individuals: John Mazinorich, Lawton Elementary, with the SAC representative; Sean Essler, representing our Business Advisory Board; and Abby Sanchez, representing Sable Point and Lake Brantley PTA. Thank you all for being here this evening. Dr. Griffin, do we have any agenda modifications?
Yes, we do, Madam Chair. The addendum for good cause is marked on our electronic agenda by a green flag named addendum item.
Thank you. And school board members, do you have any questions or items selected for removal, clarifying questions? Member Lockhart?
None, thank you.
Member Schaffner?
None.
Member Almond?
None.
Member Bauer?
None, thank you.
I just have 2 that need representation committees on 4H. I'd like to ask Mr. Bauer to represent the board on that committee, and also on 4V, as in Victor, I'd like to ask Ms. Lockhart to serve on that committee. Thank you so much for agreeing to do so. At this point in time, do I have a motion to approve the agenda outline?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
There's a motion second. Any questions or discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Dr. Griffin, do we have any presentations?
Yes, we do. Please meet me up front for one presentation.
Dr. Griffin, Dr. Calderon, board members, I'd like to introduce the newest member of our administrative team and our Seminole County family. Please welcome the new assistant principal for Winter Springs High School, Christy Drouse. Christy? Christy comes to us from Orange County, where she was an English teacher, student government sponsor. She also served as an administrative dean and a writing coach. Just before coming to Winter Springs High School, Christy was the assistant principal for instruction at Edgewater High School in Orange County. She's joined tonight by her husband, Jesse Drouse, and her son, 3.5-year-old Beckham Drouse. And I think her principal, Dr. Mickey Reynolds, is here as well. Welcome to Seminole County, Christy.
Oh, he wanted to be in the picture. Dr. Griffin, I know you have some videos to share with us all.
We do. Board members, last week we had the pleasure of crowning our elementary, middle, and high school teacher of the year. And Mr. Lawrence and his team put together a little video for all of us to see. I'm anxious to see it.
Recently, Dr. Griffin and several school board members joined school staff and family members to congratulate the finalists for the 2017 Seminole County Teachers of the Year.
Because your teacher is the 2017 Elementary School Teacher of the Year for Seminole County.
Chris Pombano is a first grade teacher from Crystal Lake Elementary. Leslie Ontman is a choral director from Markham Woods Middle School.
I have some of the most incredible students, and I feel so blessed to have found what I'm supposed to do with my life. I don't know how I got so lucky.
Said our 2017 Seminole County High School Teacher of the Year is Ashley Barnett.
Ashley Barnett is a U.S. history teacher from Lake Mary High. One of them will be named Overall Teacher of the Year for the district at a ceremony in March.
Awesome. Congratulations to our 3 finalists. And on March 17th, we'll be naming the Seminole County Teacher of the Year. What an exciting morning that was for all of us.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Griffin, I think it's important for us to tell them what the kindergarten children had to say.
That's right.
We walked in the door.
The first graders said, when we went into Chris's room, he said, "We won, we won." The kids were all excited. So it was a great day and so exciting. Board members, also, I wanted to share a video clip. As all of you are well aware, we've been very busy in Tallahassee, and we put forth a concept and brought forth a solution. And Senator Gates took our solution and took our concept and really wrote some language to support part of it. And we know at the end of the day it's going to look different. But I can tell you a lot of people go to Tallahassee, and a lot of people have a lot of meetings, but very few concepts make it as far as this has. And we know it's going to look different, and we know it will eventually be the right way to go. But I wanted to share Senator Gates' clip at the Senate committee.
Finally, Mr. Chairman, I would give credit to Seminole County, the Seminole County School Board and Superintendent and parents and teachers. Came up with a suggestion several months ago that we look for some kind of a logical alternative, not a buffet table where there would be all kinds of choices that could not be compared one to the other, and so parents would never know how their children were doing, but rather that we come up with some kind of a reasonable alternative. They made some very specific suggestions, many of which are incorporated into this bill. So if you like this approach, the idea of providing a valid, reliable, nationally examined and tested alternative, the Seminole County folks deserve the credit for it. There are things about the bill that you think are still a little rough or cause questions. That blame goes to me. But I would hope that this committee would allow the bill to go forward and allow us to keep working on it and making it better. And with that, I ask for your support.
And board members, it passed 11-0. At this time, I'd like Mr. Rusty to come up. Mr. Rusty has posted some documentation on our webpage that I'd like to share with us this evening.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Griffin. First, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to just update you a little bit on the contract negotiations information that was recently placed on the website. And I'd like to just kind of walk you through that information, if that's okay. And first, I'd like to read the statement that's placed on the website, and I'd like to read that directly to you. It says, by law, collective bargaining is to take place between the superintendent as the district's chief executive and the employees' chosen representatives. As much as the parties may like, the school board cannot bargain directly with the employees, and the employees may not bargain with the school board, except through their unions. However, it is important that the school board and the employees are aware of the positions that have been taken by their representatives. Recent statements cause us concern that the administration's positions are not being accurately portrayed. We therefore want to provide the following information. We do not seek a response from employees, nor are we trying to bargain directly with them. We will bargain with the union. Any feedback from this information should be provided to the unions. We are ready to bargain or take whatever steps will most expeditiously bring bargaining to a conclusion, as we always have been. So first, on the website is some information directly regarding the compensation proposal. The school board's proposed salary offer is a total of $7,214,160. The average salary increase for a full-time teacher-based employee is 2.25%. As you can see at the top, there's a grandfather salary schedule of $1,209.22. And just to clarify, a teacher that would be on the grandfather salary schedule is someone who is a PSC teacher, professional services contract teacher, CC teacher, CC10 teacher, and so on. By statute, all annual contract teachers are required to be on the performance salary schedule. And a performance salary schedule teacher that had an effective evaluation in 14-15 would receive $1,016.23, and a teacher on the performance salary schedule of a highly effective evaluation would receive $1,242.06. The average salary increase for a full-time SECA employee would be 2.25%. The average salary increase for a full-time NIPSCO employee would be 2.25%. And the average salary increase for a full-time Bus Driver Association employee would be 2.25%. These salary increases would be recurring and are not is not a bonus. The salary increase would be retroactive to the beginning of the 2015-2016 contract year. And the salary increase would be reported to the Florida Retirement System as part of the employee's annual compensation. Additionally, we've placed some additional information of clarification on the website I'd like to make you aware of. First, the current salary for a beginning teacher is $39,000 in Seminole County. The average salary for a Seminole County public school teacher is $47,594. The school board provides...
Excuse me. We have one person at the podium at the time. Thank you.
The school board provides teachers an average of $7,889 in health and life insurance benefits. The school board also pays on average $7,448 for the required FICA and retirement for a teacher. All full-time employees are provided the opportunity to select the high deductible health insurance plan, which the school board pays 100% of the required premium. All full-time employees may earn up to $750 in a health savings account by completing 3 wellness incentives, or $750 in premium relief for the open access health insurance plan. The chart that you see in front of you, just for clarification, is the history of the collectively bargained raises with the Seminole Education Association and the board since 1989. And as you can see, they vary widely depending on each year when these raises were bargained. I want to highlight the area in yellow. That is the area when Dr. Griffin became the superintendent of Seminole County. And you can see in 12-13, teachers received a 2.62% raise. In 13-14, it was 3.48. And last year in 14-15, it was 2.36. The next chart are the other bargaining units that we have, SECA, NIPSCO, and the bus drivers units. And again, the reason why we have two charts is some years they received the same salary increase, other years it was not. So this just, you can use this as reference. And as you can see, it varied widely. And also, again, in the area in yellow is the area where Dr. Griffin was the superintendent, and in 12-13, the non-instructional units received an increase of 2.60. For 13-14, it was 3%, and for 14-15 last year, again, it was 2.36. The last piece of information I'd like to share with you, it is not on the website, but I just want to just briefly cover it with you. It is that, as you know, we've been in the bargaining process with the 4 bargaining units for about 6 months now, almost 6 months. Our first bargaining session, as you can see from the chart that's up above, we began on August 19th with all units, and we've had a total of 10 bargaining sessions, with the last being concluded on January 26th of this year. And again, I just want to thank you for this opportunity to share this information, and if you have any questions, I can take these.
Thank you, Mr. Russi.
Okay, Mr. Kelly?
Thank you.
I'd like to just have you talk to us a little bit about property tax.
Dr. Griffin, was that the sales tax?
Sales tax. Sales tax.
Sales tax, yes, sir.
Last Thursday in the Orlando Sentinel, there was news that seemed to be tremendously positive on first blush. And they reported a little over $100 million in projected annual sales tax collections for the 1 cent infrastructure tax. And our share of it was reported at $25 million. There was also in the article reference to unspent funds from 1991 and the 2001 sales tax referendum. It's tempting to say, and I know behind closed doors we've kicked around the idea with maybe we could get some of this money from the county from the 1991 and 2001. Unfortunately, we cannot. By the infrastructure tax wasn't even allowed for school boards to participate in until 1999. 1991 would be out of bounds for us. And the 2001, of course, would require a vote of the county council, and my sense says they have other projects that they have in mind for that. Now, as to our expected future increase in collections, it was reported in the paper, and I mentioned earlier, that we are projected to receive $25 million more in collections. This district had already budgeted $10 million in additional collections in our budget. So for us, the increased estimate is $15 million. And I would remind you that this is just an estimate. I've expressed to Dr. Griffin my concern that over 9 years, they're projecting increases of 3% the first couple of years and 2% a year after that, those are not, I don't think those are at all extravagant projections, but I am concerned that we may see another recession like we did in 2007, 2008. History suggests we probably won't, but it concerns me. Another question that I've heard asked is, what can we use this money for? Assuming it comes through, what can we use the money for? This tax is authorized under 212.055 of the Florida statutes, and I'll let Sarita talk about the subparagraphs. And I'll read my understanding, and I paraphrase from the statute what we can use the funds for. The funds can be used for any fixed capital expenditure or fixed capital outlay associated with construction, reconstruction, or improvement of public facilities that have a life expectancy of 5 or more years, and any related land acquisition, land improvement, design, and engineering cost. The funds can also be used to buy vehicles and the equipment necessary to outfit the vehicles for official use that has a life expectancy of at least 5 years. So that's my understanding of it. I do know that, particularly in times like this, when we have some pretty tight budgetary pressures, both in the capital budget, but tonight we'll hear a lot about the operating budget. The question would be, could we use these funds to help the operating budget? And the answer is no, we cannot do that. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have, Dr. Griffin or board members.
Any questions, board members? No. Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Thank you.
School district highlights? Okay, great. At this point in time, is there a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so very much. Before we get to the student discipline hearing dispositions, we have received some more acknowledgement request forms. First from Judy Nyang from Lake Howell High School representing SCA, Teresa Lytle with Millennium Middle School representing SCA, Janita Pugh with Lyman High School representing SCA, Kristen Newman with Lyman High School representing SCA, and Connie Britton with Lake Howell High School representing SCA. Thank you for being here this evening. Dr. Griffin, do you have a recommendation on student discipline?
Yes, I do. That the School Board of Seminole County approved the student disciplinary recommendations from January 19th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to board member committee comments. Member Lockhart, were you able to represent this board on any committees since our last meeting?
Well, we were all together in our insurance committee work session, talked about a lot of great things there. Very productive. Don't really need to bring you all up to speed because you were there, so it was great.
Great. Mrs. Schaffner.
Yes, the foundation has 2 events coming up. Mardi Gras, which is going to be over at the Gift for Teaching store, and that's going to be on February 9th, and so we've had planning meetings for that. And then the Seminole County Teacher of the Year event that is coming up March 17th, where we're going to recognize every Teacher of the Year from every one of our high schools. It's a big event, so we've been having lots of committee meetings and things about that.
Well, thank you for your time. We'll be there at those events. Mrs. Almond.
The Children's Cabinet for the 2nd month in a row talked about human trafficking, and January was Human Trafficking Awareness Month. They listed a number of phone apps that are very dangerous for students. Kik, Chat Roulette, Yik Yak, Ask.fm, and Snapchat. A lot of them are anonymous and can get kids in trouble. So that's it.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Mr. Bauer.
No comments, thank you.
I represented the board at our mayors and managers meeting, and the topic for this month was bears. So that was very interesting. We had fish and wildlife there, but the positive was Mr. Rinaldi also attended and was able to make some good linkages, and we're going school by school within the affected areas to make sure that we have the correct dumpsters for the protection of the people and property on those schools. So that was good. And I also represented on the wellness committee. We care about everybody being healthy, the students, teachers, all employees, and we will be having our health fair on our teacher workday coming up this spring, as we always do, and offer the free exams and such. So we're trying to grow that program, partner with some of the hospitals to perhaps offer some other benefits to our employees. So exciting things should be coming this year with our new health coach that we have here at Seminole County Schools. At this point in time, it's time for our public comment section of our board member meeting. And at this point in time, Vice Chairman Lockhart, could I ask you to share?
Absolutely. This, I believe, is printed on all of the forms to give public input, but we'll read it for the record. The public input segment of the meeting is provided to allow the public to present matters to the school board for its consideration and referral to the superintendent and staff for inquiry and action, or address specific items on the agenda. The public input segment of the meeting is not open to presentation of campaign issues by political candidates or others, student disciplinary actions, pending employee disciplinary matters, or pending litigation. Policy 9.63, civility and conduct of parents, other visitors to schools and school district facilities, and district employees. It is not the intent of the school board to deprive any person of his or her right of freedom of expression. It is, however, the intent of the board to promote mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct on the part of members of the public appearing before the school board. The school board expects positive communication and will not permit disruptive, volatile, hostile, or aggressive communications on the part of speakers. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and must clearly identify the matter to be addressed on the speaker sign-up form. Speakers shall direct their comments only to the school board and may not address the audience. Speakers that do not comply with this direction will be asked to leave the lectern. The school board is pleased that you've taken the time to come to the meeting and you're willing to make your views known or to speak to issues before the board for action. And if you would, please state your name and address for the record.
Great, thank you. We have quite a few speakers wishing to address the board this evening, so I'll call you up in groups of 3 so you can queue yourself up on the wall so we can be sure to give adequate time for all speakers. First speaker is Ms. Jessica Cottrell, then Aiden Cottrell, then Pamela Gaskill.
When do I start? Okay. Originally, I wanted to speak about the Sunshine Solution and all of the changes that you mentioned that are basically changes the entire thing. But anyway, I'm actually going to speak for a friend who couldn't be here tonight. She asked me to do this on her behalf, and because we agree so much, this is almost like I'm writing this. So, her name is Jenny DaCosta, and this is what she had to say. Tonight, I am writing in support of our teachers across Seminole County Public Schools. I am a mom of a 1st grade and 7th grader in Seminole County, and I'm also a teacher. I understand the complexity and overwhelming demands of teaching today, and I also understand how important it is for my children to be loved and nurtured. I cannot overemphasize the impact your teachers have on students' lives. Your teachers are truly living the work that the school board and those at the district office orchestrate, and they are succeeding at this challenging work with love in their hearts, smiles on their faces, and a sense of pure determination to succeed. Our teachers are patient and kind. They juggle the demands on new assessments, changes in progress monitoring, curriculum changes, budget constraints, and diverse student needs. But they do this with an overwhelming sense of patience. My 1st grader has no idea that his teachers stress out about a year's worth of growth. He has no idea that they struggle daily to plan lessons to meet his and everyone else's needs and balance the demands of new standards. He doesn't know that there are new exams and standardized testing that worry our teachers endlessly. He only knows that in 1st grade, he gets to use the bathroom whenever he needs to. He can bounce across the room without being reprimanded. He can stand instead of sit if he needs to. And his ideas matter. He knows that his teacher believes in him, and he thrives because of this relationship of trust and patience. He is free to make mistakes and learn from his peers. These small moments in our classrooms are not mandated. They are not a part of any district initiative, but these small moments keep my overly active, left-handed little boy engaged in learning and loving school. These small moments are the things your teachers do that make all of the testing, accountability, progress monitoring, and emphasis on demonstrating growth through numbers bearable for my son. It is his teacher that ensures through all these changes and additional work on her shoulders that he feels none of that pressure, that he is able to learn and grow freely while feeling valued and loved every step of the way. Our teachers are brave. Their bravery is shown brightly through all the grading scale changes and 9-week exam issues at the middle school level. They have calmed fears, highlighted successes, which sometimes were very difficult, and worked within an ever-changing and disparaging system while always trying to protect their students first and foremost.
Thank you, Ms. Cottrell. If you'd like to leave that with us, we can enter it into public.
Okay, they face angry parents and distraught children struggling to make sense of change. They get up each day and strive to create a learning environment that serves for their students. Your teachers are waiting for you to fight for them, just as they...
Aiden Cottrell, Pamela Gaskill, and Dan Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but this is a public meeting based on school board policy. We have rules and regulations how these meetings are to be run. The person who has the floor at this point in time is Aiden Cottrell, then Pamela Gaskill, then Dan Smith. Thank you. Please also remember to state your name and your address.
Oh, no, shit. Tell them who you are.
I'm Aiden Cottrell.
And how old are you?
12.
Okay. And did you help write this, almost all of this yourself?
No.
Did you do most of it, though? How about these? Did I help you change that? Okay. All right. You want to read it? No. Hello, my name is Aiden Cottrell, and I'm a 12-year-old from Oviedo. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I wanted you to hear from a kid in your community and what matters most to us. We don't want to be compared to other kids, even though some parents and politicians do. We do not. We don't want to be thought of as not good enough because score tests that do not even really matter. We do want our teachers to get to know us in the things that we want to learn about. We do want to make our teachers proud, but not because we can get a good score on a test. We do want to learn, but not all of us learn in the same way. We do want to be successful, but success is not measured on a test that makes kids nervous and sick, and also judges and penalizes our teachers. We deserve to use our creativity in school, and our teachers deserve to be able to help us do that. Because of scores, I wasn't able to take an art class in school, and that is how my brain learns best. Please change so that our teachers can do what is best for all of us, and not just for the wealthy and politicians. Thank you.
Thank you, Aiden.
Thank you.
Pamela Gaskill, Dan Smith, and Carly Blades.
Good evening. You need me to restate my name?
Yes, please.
Pamela Gaskill. Good evening, board members. My goal tonight is to shed light on a problem in salary negotiations with the Teacher Association. In order to effectively develop an argument and open the door to discourse, the person preparing for the debate or argument must effectively establish the parameters and boundaries of said argument. Without establishing this boundary and adding the necessary qualifications to support the claim, the discourse cannot be effective, nor can it achieve positive results. I know this because I teach my students in AP Capstone and AP Lit this concept in order for them to be successful in our course. The Seminole County School Board has failed to establish the parameters for the argument of teacher salaries that the board is willing to pay each year. For the past 8 years, this board has consistently cried poor mouth. We, the teachers, repeatedly hear, there's no money in the budget, or we desperately want to pay our teachers more, but times are tough and everyone is cutting back. Be patient. The time will come when we pay teachers more. In other words, we don't have the money. In response to said argument, the Teacher Association, and let's be honest, we're an association, not a union, because we lack the ability to truly fight bureaucracy, has worked under the board's annual false bargaining claim to demonstrate that the county does have money to pay teachers more. By cutting the fat, eliminating waste, and utilizing the millage that the voters, like myself, voted for, there is money to increase our salaries. The Teacher Association repudiated the board's argument and showed how to compensate teachers. But you, the board, play by your own rules and ignore organized discourse. Instead of reviewing the proposal and discussing the intricacies of trimming the fat, utilizing the millage, and working towards paying teachers more competitively, the board declares an impasse and walks away from the bargaining table. After more than a decade of listening to your rhetoric, I have a question for you. When are you going to verbalize your actions and define the salary discussion as you truly see it, as a non-negotiable discussion? For the past 8 years, the board has consistently denied or fallen short of offering teachers a raise that accommodates the rising cost of living and recognizes the additional work of all teachers in this county. Do you have the courage to put your words into actions? This salary is non-negotiable and non-bargainable. Let's establish this now so we, the teachers, know the true parameters of the discussion are actually non-existent, and any attempt at future discourse will fall on deaf ears. This will quell any hope that we have that pay in this county can change. If you stop playing games and voice your disrespect, we won't have to continue this annual dance. It's time for you to be honest with teachers, the parents, and the public. The actions of the Seminole County School Board demonstrate that the board does not believe the teachers in this county are worth retaining. The school board believes that qualified, compassionate, highly effective teachers are a proverbial dime a dozen. Walking away from the bargaining table embodies your disregard for us. It's time to end the peacocking. Openly declares that your motives are not ever to pay Seminole County teachers for the role we play in maintaining SCPS as an A+ school district, so we can hear from your mouth where we finally truly stand. Enough is enough.
Thank you. Dan Smith, Carly Blades, and Abby Sanchez. I called 3 people to the podium and they couldn't hear their names because of the audience. Should we miss them? Dan Smith, Carly Blades, Abby Sanchez.
You did say Dan Smith, right? I wouldn't want to misrepresent somebody else's interest. Can you run a timer? I didn't bring mine with me. Are you going to run a timer? I didn't bring mine with me. Do you mind? All right, gotcha. Sorry. Whenever you're ready. All right, my name is Dan Smith. I'm an employee of Seminole County Schools for some time now. Been a teacher and educator for 23 years. I had a different piece of discourse. I was going to discuss something else. I had a different topic I wanted to discuss, but I'm going to scuttle this because I got to tell you, I'm outraged by the fact that you are allowing to put that communication on the position of bargaining on the website. I frankly find it deplorable, and I apologize for the language. If I can just give some examples, I certainly am not going to ask you to bring it back up here, but you had stated that recent statement caused concern that the SPS position are not being accurately portrayed. I will also say, as Mr. Russi posted, that I am not going to seek a response from you guys at all. I'm just putting the information out there. And I feel that the employees of Seminole County Public Schools in the position taken by their employer, I feel it important that, as they said, the whole story should be represented. And the whole story is not represented by the information that you have on there. I will say, and I don't want to violate any labor laws, but I'm a little bit familiar with the bargaining process that we've been going on. That's all I'm going to say about that. The accuracy of what is displayed is about as accurate as 5 + 5 does not equal 12. It's not the whole story, and that's not what we do. The information you have is accurate, but I think it would be prudent to either take it down or include the fact that our 4 bargaining units had put contract language in that you want to say was negotiated. It was simply struck. Pages and pages, word for word struck. No response, no counter, striking. I don't find that to be bargaining. I find that to be scolding, frankly, and it's just causing me outrage. I also want to ask you that if you are interested in bargaining, as it's stated, although I'm surprised that to be the case, I please ask you to take that down. You're interested in giving the message to us. I think you need to understand, we provide the message to the employees. That's what we do. We provide the message, we bargain for them, we take care of that stuff. We don't need your help. What we do need you to do is be willing to bargain and negotiate. That would be an ideal message. But please, take that note down. I find it highly inappropriate. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of speakers to get to. Ms. Beeman, could you remind us all of 2.22 of board meetings?
Certainly. Both 9.63, which is the civility policy, and 2.22, which is the school board meeting, references that it is unlawful to knowingly disrupt a school board meeting. There are rules as to the procedure here, and we would ask that you all adhere to both the civility and the school board policy. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point in time, I'd like to call Carly Blades, then Abby Sanchez, then Lee Marie Curfey. Good evening.
Hi. Hi, my name is Carly Blades, and I'm a high school guidance counselor. Part of my job is assisting students with career exploration. Sometimes students express desires to go into teaching and return to Seminole County to teach. They often waver due to pay. I'm here for them. What should I tell them? Should I tell them, yes, teaching is not all about the pay, but you should go into teaching if you enjoy working 2 or more jobs? If you're okay with going years without a reasonable raise and being compensated for the professional you are? Should I tell them if you want to become a teacher and have children, it's best to have a family member or friend close by to watch them for free because it's nearly impossible to pay for daycare and a mortgage. Or when a student asks if I have health insurance, do I tell them, well, yes, we have health insurance, but we have to pay $1,500 before we can use it. When they express confusion over what $1,500 is, do I tell them it's about 1.5 paychecks for a first-year teacher? When they express desire to work in exceptional student education, should I be honest and tell them that they will put in countless hours that are unpaid and on weekends to keep up with the mandates, paperwork, and demands that our students need? Do I tell them about my coworkers who say, well, I can afford to be a teacher because my partner doesn't work in education? With all due respect, my question to you is, what should I tell our current Seminole County students who express a desire to return to teach in Seminole County?
Thank you very much. Abby Sanchez, Lee Marie Murphy, and then John Masinovic.
Good evening. I'm Abby Sanchez from Longwood, Florida. I'm a teacher at Sable Point Elementary and PTA for Lake Brantley for I don't know how many years. I have been a teacher for 26 years, 10 years in Tallahassee and 16 years here. And I truly feel blessed to be a teacher in Seminole County. We moved here for a reason. We moved here because we are A+ school district. Like many of us, we moved here because of the wonderful teachers, the wonderful families, and the atmosphere of Seminole County. We take pride in this school district. And us being a data-driven instruction, we also need to remember that us as teachers are having to be driven with that as well. And in order for us to continue on the path that we're going, we need to be able to bargain and be able to discuss increases in salaries. For example, I was speaking to some of the teachers at our school who were going to come here, but they couldn't because they were working other jobs tonight. They can't make it. And one of them said, I have to go to the doctor's. I can't go because I can't pay for my premium. I can't pay the $750 that I have to pay right now. So I'm walking around with a broken foot. We don't want to see that. We don't want this to affect our students. I take pride in the fact that I've had 2 children already go through Seminole County schools and already graduate from here, and 1 left that will be graduating next year. And I know that you have a tough job, and there's a lot going on, but we want fairness and everybody to work together and come up with a solution, just like we did with the Seminole Solution and other things. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Marie Murphy, John Masinovic, and Amanda Cladfelter.
Good evening. My name is Lee Kurzy. I'd like to address a few things with you. One, I would really appreciate the data from the survey that you all will be asking the students about. I've asked for it in an email. Ms. Lockhart was kind enough to forward that on to you, Mr. Griffin, and also to Dr. Cody. I'd really like to see it, but more than that, I think it's ridiculous that every parent who wants to see the questions on that survey has to come to you as a school board or as a principal. It has to be wasteful not only of your time, but it's definitely a waste of our time. Can you put it on your website, send out an email, put it on Skyward? There's so many ways that you can communicate this information. And I don't think parents really understand how important this survey really is. Parents haven't figured out quite yet all the data that's being collected on their children. P20 is a real thing. I don't know if you all know about it. I'd be more than happy to send you a ton of information on it. I think you're all great people. I think that communication has gotten really bad lately, obviously. Also, my friend's son asked me to let you all know that the food at his high school is horrible and they don't serve enough. So he gets migraines, and when he can't eat his school lunch, he can bring lunch to school, obviously, but the option is there for him to purchase lunch at school. He said it's not good and they don't serve him enough. So every day he has a migraine. Also, his math teacher is keeping him late. He's almost missing the bus. So probably not something you can do anything about. On the topic of transparency, I really appreciate transparency. I do. But I will tell you, there are parents like me. First woman who spoke, we will not be publicly shamed on social media into shutting up. We're going to continue to fight for our children. They're ours. Thank you.
John. Then Amanda Cladfelter, then Stuart Berg.
Hello. All right. My name is John Masinovic, and I'm the parent of 2 children in the Seminole County school system. Only in the last 5 months have I started digging into the troublesome underpinnings of our public education system. Our oldest is 9 and has managed the stress and workload in an admirable manner. To that point, although we understood there were problems within the system, and we were less motivated to dig deeper to learn more about this very, very complex issue, which is public education. Then this past fall, our 5-year-old began suffering symptoms of stress, stomach pains, the trots, and on the 4th day of Iowa testing, she woke up crying in the middle of the night because of these inappropriate standardized tests. Since then, I've learned much about the many things broken, I believe, with our public education system. Primarily, number 1, the Florida standards, which ridiculously attempt to quantify exactly what educated means at each grade level and were created without the input of child psychologists. Number 2, teacher bonuses and school grading, which drives the administration's desire for these overreaching standardized tests that are used for a value-added measure by giving them twice per year, at the beginning and at the end. Education is not a business. Thirdly, inhumanely low amounts of recess, as in free play, which not only deprives our kids of much-needed social, emotional, and physical development, but sets them up for failure in school, as they are less able to release stress and energy, and also less able to focus on what they can, so they can do best for their teachers and themselves. And I know that to some degree these issues are beyond your complete control, but your hands are not completely tied, and there are some important steps you can take right now to help start educating our children properly. Number 1, stop the Iowa value-added measure standardized testing for K through 2. These tests are not mandated by the state or the federal government, yet you've chosen to subject our 5 to 8-year-olds to a stressful test because of early developmental differences inherent between children at that age offers very little reliable data and takes time and money away from the experiential learning that they require at that age. Number 2, recess. And despite what you may think or say, elementary children in our county are not getting the recess you tell us is required. Now please make this a priority and disallow canceling recess as a tool for punishment. And please don't wait for the public recess bill. That's just passing the buck on a very, very important issue. Number 3, and lastly, please speak up. I've spoken with many people who work in this building, and there are many who have said that they agree with these problems to which I refer. Exercise the authority of your office to push for real change on behalf of Seminole County's children. And the Sunshine Solution, however well intended, is completely inadequate in terms of offering meaningful change.
Thank you, sir. We have your comments and add into public record. We appreciate it. Amanda, then Stuart Berg, then Sharon Swelina.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Cladfelter. Like any good teacher who is highly effective, I'd like to start tonight off with a learning goal. The school board will be able to negotiate to compensate their employees. I've been teaching at Wekiva for 14 years. I'm a product of Seminole County Public Schools. I also went to Lake Brantley, I went to Wekiva, and I also went to Teague. I came to this county to teach because I love it. I've always been a strong advocate for education in order to ensure all parties involved do what's best for our students. They are, in fact, the future of America. Throughout my 14 years, I've rolled with all the changes that have been made, some federal, some state, and some local. However, I cannot stand here tonight before you and tell you that I feel confident that we, meaning all involved in this endeavor, are doing what's best. My contractual hours are from 7:45 to 3:15 with a 30-minute duty-free lunch. This year, it is impossible to work within these hours to get all the work done that is required of me. I find that many days my car is one of the first ones in the parking lot in the morning and one of the last ones to leave. Many other jobs pay their workers overtime. Education, not so much. I am so dedicated to my job that I do what I have to do in order to get things done to help my students succeed. With all these new demands, I've had to make a choice and sacrifice my personal time with family and friends. Here's a glimpse into a typical day. 7:15 to 7:30, arrive to get a jump start. 7:45 to 8:35, parent conferences, MTSS meetings, mentoring teachers, students, checking and responding to roughly 15 to 20 emails from staff and/or parents, checking your mailbox, grading papers, entering them into Skyward, polling students to provide their accommodations of extra time on their IEPs. If there's time, I actually get to plan during my uninterrupted plan time. 10:10 to 10:55, PLC time. Rush back from dropping kids off and head to a training, listen and take notes on a variety of topics, frameworks, Ed Insight, writing, gifted, bullying, child abuse, medical trainings, analyzing data, unpacking, repacking standards, DPPs, reflections, learning logs, science lab ideas, team leader minutes, SIP committee meetings, surveys, tech trainings, etc. Then maybe I get to use the restroom. 1:08 to 1:38, my duty-free time, AKA when my team finally meets face-to-face to discuss lesson planning. 2:55 to 3:15, supervising children at car or bus duty. 3:15, more email, parent conferences, lesson plans, mentoring, and finishing anything else that I haven't had a chance to do. Around 4:45 to 5:30, if I'm not on the way to a meeting or a strongly suggested county PD, I'm heading home to grade more papers and do more lesson planning. I know I have responsibilities in my job. I'm just saying the amount of things cannot be done during contractual hours. When I sat at the bargaining meeting and I heard 2.25%.
You can leave the rest of your comments if you'd like to us. Thank you. Excuse me, we told all speakers it was 3 minutes. We want to get to hear every single speaker. We will run this meeting civilly. Thank you. 2.25% is not enough. I'm worth more, and so is everyone in this room. Thank you. Stuart Berg, then Sharon Swelina, then Tracy Albert.
Hey, good evening. My name is Stuart Berg, and I'm the art teacher at Idlewild Elementary in Sanford. After 20 years in the advertising and creative field, I traded the corporate boardroom for the excitement of my own classroom. This is a career change I do not regret. I simply love my job. Last year, a student proclaimed, "Mr. Berg, you are the best art teacher in the world." And I believed him. So I asked, "How many art teachers have you had?" And he said, "Just you." Well, maybe I'm not the best. When you go off to middle or high school and you meet a better art teacher, are you going to tell me or protect my feelings? With a big grin of assurance, he said, "I'll protect your feelings." That fine area that I see our first grade team introducing and teaching our students, fact versus opinion. It's a fact. My elementary school receives Title I funding. Over 80% of our students come from economically disadvantaged homes. They're working poor. Some live in the motels along US 1792, the one 60 minutes referred to as Central Florida's motel generation. However, there is a fact that I worry that could be overlooked, which is adding to the challenges of our students, our rate of attrition. When I look back to my first year of teaching, there has been an over 80% turnover in our instructional staff, and that's just in 7 years. In fact, only 2 Seminole County public school teachers have transferred into our school, and only 1 remains today in the classroom. So here's my opinion. In no way do I think this is a reflection on my current or past administrators. My principals and fellow teachers are hardworking and inspiring to collaborate with. But our students demand challenging instruction while we simultaneously address their basic needs. This balancing act requires dedication, self-reflection, and examination of what works. In my opinion, raising the stipend Title I administrators can offer teachers would substantially improve our attrition rate, a return on the investment for both students and teachers. Increasing Title I stipend would help my principal recruit and then retain our brightest talent. It would also make a clear statement of our district's commitment to our Title I students and their teachers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sharon Swelina, Tracy Albert, Mary Beth Acker.
Good evening, Sharon Swelina, Lake Mary High School. I've spoke here before for the same reasons, and I got to tell you, standing here again is really sad. It's disheartening. And it's not just disheartening because I have to do this again. It's disheartening standing and listening to my fellow employees once again beg for a decent cost of living increase. The average salary in Seminole County is $47,594. I've been in this county for 19 years, and I'm ashamed and embarrassed to say I don't even make the average salary. There is a problem. Mr. Griffin, I was really, really hopeful when you said, hey, give those teachers a raise, give those teachers a raise. I was really hopeful that you meant a significant raise. 2.25% is not a significant raise this year. Why? Because I have to turn around now and pay for insurance or my medical needs aren't fair. At best, 2.25% is not a raise. It is nothing more than a shell game. You are taking money out of the insurance pot and you're shifting into my salary pot. That's all you're doing. You guys continually, publicly declare the teachers in this county are your #1 asset. My question is, why aren't we a budget priority? Every year we come to bargaining, and every year all you go is, this is what we have left. I'm sorry, I'm starting to feel like a pig at a trough, because all you do every year is throw me the leftovers. That's all we get is what's left over. Why can't the teachers be a budgetary priority? Also, I would like to leave one final thought. We're an A+ school last year. an A+ district last year. We've been an A+ district for every year that I can recall. Odds are we're going to be an A+ district this year. Your teachers are doing their job. They're doing their job exceedingly well. My question to you is, if we're such a great district that we're continually an A+ district, why don't we have an A+ salary schedule? Thank you.
Tracy Albert, Mary Beth Acker.
Hi, good evening. I'm Tracy Albert. I live in Lake Mary, Florida. I am reading this on behalf of someone who could not be here tonight. When teachers with graduate school bachelor's and master's degrees have to live from paycheck to paycheck because the school board is unwilling to pay a decent wage, there is a real problem. When teachers have to decide between feeding their children and purchasing their medication, there is a real problem. When the school board reduces our pay even more through a costlier employee health care plan, there is a real problem. When the school board takes 3% of a teacher's wages as per Florida law and then pockets the 3% without giving their teachers a pay raise, then there is a real problem. When school board members receive more compensation for a part-time job than third-year teachers, there is a real problem. When the school board treats their teachers as a necessary evil to be dealt with, notwithstanding the public soundbite here and there is a real problem. When the school board shows distrust in their teachers' abilities, then there is a real problem. When millions of dollars are spent on consultants and not on the staff, there is a real problem. When teachers work 12-hour days or more and are asked to do even more without additional compensation, there is a real problem. When the school board is unable to see that both teachers and all staff members, I would like to add in here, not just teachers, but like you said, school bus drivers, paraprofessionals, everybody, there is a real problem, and I hope that we can solve it, because I will just say this. I do receive funding from this county for certain grants, and I'm very grateful to the Grants for Great Ideas that the county does afford me. However, That's for my classroom, and it does provide additional funds, but I need to fund me. You know, what about me? Not just my students. I'm here too, and I love Seminole County. I don't love how I'm being treated by the county. So please help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Beth Acker, Michael Medlock, and then James Rourke.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth Acker, and I teach at Bentley Elementary School. I want to talk to you about budgets. When I was a child, I didn't grow up in a wealthy family, and my dad was a carpenter. We were always on a budget, and he taught me that you had to prioritize that budget. The first thing you do is put a roof over your family's head, and the next thing you do is feed your family. I think this school board maybe can take a lesson from my long-gone dad, because he was a smart man. You've done an excellent job of putting a roof over our heads. We have wonderful state-of-the-art facilities across the county. People scramble to put their kids in our schools. It's time to feed the family. We are your family. Thank you.
Michael Medlock, James Rourke.
Michael Medlock. I've been driving school bus for 26 years. I'm reminded of what Martin Luther King said. We are inevitably our brother's keeper because we are our brother's brother. What affects one directly affects all indirectly. And it's just hard. 26 years, and it's unimaginable. Driving down the road with 71 kids, you got to watch the traffic. You got to deal with people on the cell phone. You got to deal with irate people. But the sad irony about it, many days, drivers had to collectively get together and start programs to feed each other over the summer. It's sad. We have to support one another. We've given up our sick time, not days, weeks, months, to get drivers help through the summer because they're sick, cancer, whatever it is. We stick together. And I'm reminded of this, and I can't get this metaphor out of my mind, and it ain't pretty. I often thought about the Hebrews in Egypt. Pharaoh said, I'm going to take some of your straw away, but you need to make more brick. You need to work a little more harder because we need to get Egypt built. And right today, Egypt is standing because people, blood, sweat, and tears, and like the sister said earlier, this is an A+ school district. I hate to use this metaphor, but I'm feeling like one of them people in Egypt. That ain't a good feeling.
James Rourke.
Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman.
I'm waiting for James Rourke.
Madam Chairman.
Yes.
I think it's
time for a recess.
Yes.
We'll take a 10-minute recess. Thank you. I'd like to reconvene the Seminole County Public Schools School Board meeting for February 2nd, 2016. Mr. James Rourke, you are to be recognized, Renardi Allen, then Bobby Carton. Mr. Rourke, are you still wishing to address the board? Thank you. Yeah. And then Renardi Allen. Good evening.
It was just a blue form to say I'm here.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. You just needed to be acknowledged. We appreciate it. Renarde Allen, Bobby Carton, Stephen Cornia.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Good evening to everyone else. I'm a school bus driver. I love my job, and I don't mean that sarcastically. When I took the job, it was not about the pay. I didn't agree with it, but I felt it was the only way that I could connect with the students of Seminole County and make their lives better without being an educator, which I'm working toward right now in college. Thank you. There's a very important man in my life. His name is Patrick Lagon. He's my pastor. I asked him one time, I said, Pastor, why won't they pay me more money? He said, son, your employer will never pay. Well, your employer pays you what they think you're worth. So I said, how do you increase in pay? He said, well, son, you got to die for your job. I said, what do you mean die for your job? He said, diligence, integrity, and excellence. So I get it. Every day we get up at 4:30, some earlier. And with diligence, integrity, and excellence, we get the children to school and back home. So I say, what would it be like if our employers paid us what we think we're worth? He said, well, son, your employers will go broke because they don't have the money to afford that. Then I began to think, when we're dead and gone, and the ones we transport to school are sitting in those seats, and they're expected to continue the legacy that has been set forth of diligence, integrity, and excellence, it began to really make sense to me. I don't want to get paid what you think I'm worth. I don't want to get paid what I think I'm worth because I haven't put that much diligence in yet. But all I ask is that you pay us what you think the children are worth.
Bobby Carton, then Stephen Cornia, then Christina McCormick.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Griffin. First, I would like to say I am a dispatcher for Seminole County Public Schools. I am also at IS Tech at Transportation. I am a secretary for safety. I am a bus driver when we need it. I am a monitor when we need it. Whatever it takes for our kids. My daughter is 32 years old. She is a product of Seminole County. She is a chef at the Hilton in Altamont, and I'm the proudest mother in the world. But let me tell you, she said to me the other day, Mom, my boss needs a good secretary and assistant. They pay double than what you make. Let me tell you what I told her. I love my job. Every driver, every monitor, every teacher, every custodian in this place deserves to get double than what they get. Because you know what? At 4:30 in the morning, when transportation opens, the Seminole County opens, it is my fellow dispatchers that get out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, come and make sure every student that deserves a bus, and some of those that don't, get on it and go to school. Sorry, I have to tell the truth. It is also, we close at 5:30, but let me tell you, I work the afternoon shift in our dispatch office every other week because transportation utilizes every talent that we have. And when we get a call from a school or a parent or even the sheriff's department, we have a missing student. Do you know transportation does not go home? Managers, dispatchers, bus drivers, we're all out there looking for those children. We're making sure they get home safe. Please, please implore your team to come back to the table with us and offer us something that we deserve. 2.25 is not enough. Thank you very much.
Stephen Cornia, then Christina McCormick.
Thank you very much. At first, I'd like to apologize for breaking rules. I'd like to apologize for showing enthusiastic support for my fellow speakers, And if that is breaking rules, I'm sorry, but I shall continue to do so. You have admonished us about rules. And yes, there are rules, and those rules must be followed. There are also rules about negotiating in good faith. It says that both parties must come to the table with a genuine interest to find agreement. And frankly, I think I need some more convincing that one side is coming to the table with that genuine interest to find a collaborative agreement. The last thing is this: I did not start out wanting to be a teacher. 20 years into my career after graduating from college, I decided this was the field that I chose. I had worked in other fields, and I decided I wanted to pay back to teachers who inspired me. I wanted to pay back to Robert J. DeLacy, my social studies teacher in Portland, Oregon. I wanted to pay back to John Mearsheimer, my political science professor at the University of Chicago. I wanted to pay back because I wanted to make an impact on children. I take great pride in being a teacher in Seminole County. I take great pride in being a member of an A+ school district. But with all respect, the reason we are an A+ school district is not the 7 people sitting at that dais. It is the bus drivers who pick our students up in the morning. It is the workers in the cafeteria who make sure our students have a good lunch. It is the custodians who keep our buildings clean. It is the teachers in the classroom, and it is the parents who our students go home at night and they make sure they do their homework. We are an A+ school district. We are A+ employees. We are A+ parents. And these A+ people are calling for you to put forward an A+ effort. Thank you.
Christina McCormick.
Okay. My name is Christina McCormick, and I am a highly effective math and science teacher at Sterling Park Elementary School. I also have 3 children that have gone through Seminole County schools. I have 2 that have graduated. I have 1 still in 8th grade. And as a college-educated former corporate America turned teacher, I think my children had an advantage of having me as a mother. I'm college-educated, I was in the business world, and I love math and science, and I insist on straight A's, and that's what my children get. So they should be at an advantage. But if you pull up my son on MTSS, he's at a disadvantage. He's a risk factor for not graduating because he's economically disadvantaged. I am a teacher, and my children qualify for free and reduced lunch. I'm not the only one. So when my children should be considered lucky and be at an advantage to be a child of a teacher, they're disadvantaged. They have a risk factor of non-graduation because they're economically disadvantaged. They qualify for a free lunch because their teacher mother in this school district doesn't make enough to give them lunch money. Thank you.
This concludes the public comment section of our meeting. Dr. Griffin, do we have any unfinished business or new business?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
Superintendent's report.
There are 3 read-only items. One is a change order, followed by our monthly grant report, and just a summary from our National Mentoring Month.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chairman Lockhart, do you have any board member comments at this time?
I just wanted to thank you all for the great open work session that we had, open discussion this afternoon. I think it was really a fantastic opportunity for us to talk about some really important issues, everything from the FSA Q&A that will be coming out on the 12th for parents, the communication that will be available to teachers and administration, and how to deal with students who choose to minimally participate. I think that would be something that actually most of the people in this room might be interested in hearing about, but I'll go ahead and yield the balance of my time since you all were there and you heard about it.
Thank you. Mrs. Schaffner.
Lots going on out in the schools that many of us have been out to see. We had an awards ceremony for the Blackout Bullying Program. We had an opportunity to award several of our students the special awards for it. We had the Hamilton Elementary Greatest in the World.
Excuse me, we're trying to conduct a meeting.
Their drum
We
line
still
was
have a
awesome.
meeting to conduct.
I appreciate you respecting us trying to conduct a meeting. Thank you. Mrs. Schaffner, you have the floor.
Thank you. I also wanted to mention the Greenwood Lakes Middle School, the special event that they had, that the Google Pioneer Expeditions. Several of us went over to see that. The Galapagos Islands we saw Egypt, went to the moon, saw the Roman ruins. It's a special program that we had going over there, and it was phenomenal. The kids were really wrapped up in it. It was great. I also went over to Indian Trails Middle School. They had a special STEAM program over there, and lots of activities going on. Kids were having a wonderful time. So were the adults, by the way. But it was their STEM day as well. We had Saturday night, we had the all-county band concert, which was absolutely unbelievable. These are the students. Middle school was first. These are the honor students from all the middle schools. There were about over 100 students there. Middle school performance absolutely sounded like it was at least high school, if not college. Unbelievable. And the high school, when they performed, it was like they were professionals. The last piece that they played was just a very, very difficult piece. Any of you who were there to see it, kudos to all the students that were involved, but kudos to our music teachers, because starting down in kindergarten, that's where it starts. And I also wanted to mention that through the last couple of months, we have been meeting with the Teachers of the Year. I know Dr. Griffin is there, and the board members rotate we have about 10 or 12 of them. This is last year's Teachers of the Year. They come up for lunch, and we have a chance to have like a 2-hour program with them. We ask them, tell us what's going on that we need to know about, tell us what we can do to improve things in your classroom. We've talked about things like classroom management, professional development, scheduling, and we have learned several things from the Teachers of the Year who have been there to talk about some of the challenges that they have. We are going to be doing a survey with all teachers based on the information we're getting from these Teachers of the Year. So we do this once a month. As I say, the board members rotate going to these Teacher of the Year events. So I think that's been very informative, and I think we've learned a great deal from the Teachers of the Year at that. So I'll let it go at that because I know others have things to talk about too.
Thank you. You talked about Indian Trails Middle School and their STEM Day, and so many community members came out to do the different experiments, and it had to be the wettest day we've had this entire year. We're lucky we kept power. In our district, we just had a Franklin Covey Leader and Me Symposium, and I was fortunate enough to participate. Dr. Beth Sharp, Dr. Mia Coleman-Baker, Sharon Stanley, Lenore Logston, Shannon Ackerson, and the Casper Chamber all also participated and did a great job. So that and the Leadership Summit last Friday, we're so fortunate in this community to have so many great community partners that value education and take the time out to work with us to benefit our students. That's all I have today.
Mr. Bauer.
No comments, thank you.
Okay.
I do have one thing
Yep.
before you go on.
Ms. Lucker?
We had the first inaugural session of the Citizens Academy, and I was fortunate enough to be able to start it off and be there for the duration. And I cannot tell you the incredible mix and diversity of people that are participating in that. I think it's going to be wonderful. And I want to thank, where's Michael Lawrence? Right there, and all of the members of the executive team who were there to help put on that event. It was really wonderful, and they'll be visiting each of the different schools and different locations so that members of the community who want to learn more about Seminole County Public Schools can do so. So congratulations on getting it kicked off, and I highly encourage the other board members to spend a day with these folks. Actually, it's a morning, it's just a couple of hours. Really, really fascinating, great stuff. And to hear the questions from community members and their perspective, it's very, very good time well spent. Sorry, thank you.
No, that's great. I was there too, so ditto. I had the opportunity to speak at the Orange County League of Women Voters along with Bill Sublette, the chair of Orange County Public Schools, and it was very interesting. It was a sellout crowd, over 150 people, and the positive comments that we got from the whole community, not just Seminole people that were there in attendance, but very supportive of the Sunshine Solution and really liked what was happening within the district. Also had the chance to visit the Infinite Scholars Program in Sanford, where hundreds of thousands of dollars of college scholarships were given out to our students, and it really prided me to see our phenomenal guidance counselors and principals escort their students in their jackets and ties and dresses and get interviewed and on the fly, thanks to their great academic and athletic and artistic talents, were offered scholarships at many, many colleges. As you know, I also sit on the Orlando Science Board, and this past few weeks we sponsored Otronicon, and thank you to our teachers and students with the robotics teams. They had the ability to go over there and host some of the exhibits that were visited by thousands of visitors in Central Florida, so it really shows you that the science and technology is alive and well. As many of you probably attended many Martin Luther King activities, but specifically I appreciate the Sanford Martin Luther King organization that support our students. They had one evening, and I attended and listened to the women do their speeches, and they were awarded college scholarships. And walking in the parade, I think every single Sanford school was represented on Monday morning, so that was great. Whether it was a band or a step team, it was phenomenal to see. And DDI too was there with the concert with you, but not only are the music arts alive, the arts, as we heard from our Idlewild art teacher this evening, Sanford had their art walk, and Seminole County Public Schools art teachers displayed their artwork, and it was phenomenal. I posted a few of the pictures on Facebook, and I actually had friends of mine ask, is that for sale? We'd love to purchase some of that artwork. So I hooked up the art teachers with the citizens, and Dr. Griffin and I have been discussing how we might be able to display some of our art teachers' work within this facility for all of our citizens to enjoy. Represented the board at the Highland Games in Winter Springs. There were many, many students and citizens there. It's the #1 tourist attraction in Seminole County, go figure. And want to congratulate the Haggerty robotics team who are going to the championship. It was a fun day. I know, Dr. Griffin, you attended that as well, and to see the hard work of our coaches and our community members and their donations. This month, Sertoma awarded 5 Students of the Month to various schools across the district, and I can guarantee to you there was not a dry eye in the house when you hear the stories of the overcoming obstacles that both the students and teachers have occurred. It's great to have community organizations such as Sertoma to recognize the best and the brightest. As you know, last week was Literacy Week, and many of us were out in the schools reading to students, and it's always heartwarming to see how much they appreciate other people come in other than their teachers, and I think that's great for us to continue. Lake Mary High School had a great charity golf tournament for their new baseball coach, and they want to continue their legacy of excellence within their baseball team, so I thank them for that community involvement. And we need to give a shout out to Minnie Cardona. Yes. Where's Minnie? Minnie? Is she here? Oh, she's hiding. Oh. She was named as one of the 25 most influential Hispanics in Central Florida. Thank you. And we concur. We are very proud and honored to have you on our team. So that being said, Mrs. Beeman, I think you have a request of the board at this time?
Yes, I have a need for your advice on 2 cases. One is the Jacobs case, and the other is the Case case. And I'm requesting an executive session for the 16th of February.
Is that in our calendars, Madam Clerk? Okay. Thank you very much. Any other business to come before the board? Seeing none, this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.